Alright, hello folks. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different kind of video. In fact, not just today, but over, I'm assuming, the next while, I guess. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to make a club out of this tree. So we're going to be cutting it and then digging out the root system and getting the kind of large shape there, because that way you can have a big part that's not structurally weak. And yeah, I've never done this before, but I'm a bit of an enthusiast of making wooden weapons and stuff, so who knows? We'll see what we can come up with. Okay, so I'm going to cut it higher than I need. So I'd say right about here. Alright, timber, and she comes. Alright, so I got it cut down. It's a fairly small tree, so it wasn't that difficult, but boy, probably should have used a chainsaw. Either way, this is juniper wood, in case you didn't know, and that's all that grows in this part of Central Oregon. I kid you not, that's all that grows. Alright, yeah, it's gonna need a lot of work, but this is what we're working with. This thing needs to dry out a lot because it's really wet right now, and you really can't work with super wet wood. But I'm gonna try to take a lot of this stuff off, a lot of the bark, debark it, I guess, is what I'm gonna try to do now. So I have this big kitchen knife that was all rusty, and I found Alright, so I'm just gonna let this thing dry out for a while. Alright, so it's been a few days, maybe 5-ish days, and this thing's been drying out. I actually moved it into the house to sit above a vent so it can dry out faster. And I think it's ready to work with. It probably could still use some more time, but I mean, it's not like wet and all the roots are wet. I mean, it's dry, the bark just falls off and everything. So, yeah, let's get right to work on this thing, shaping it down. Oh, it smells terrible. I don't know why, but juniper wood does not smell very good. You can see some of that wood grain. It's quite nice though. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with this end shape. It's kind of got a knotty shape, but it's not too many protrusions, and it should sand fairly nicely. I'm a little worried about this major dip in here, though. That's going to be hard to get into. I can already tell. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this shape. So now I'm going to flip it around and do the handle, or just kind of taper the whole thing so this part's much thinner, which I can already tell is going to be easier said than done. Alright, well I've gotten the four sides cut off, so now it's a lot thinner, but now it's got these sharp edges, so now I'm going to cut these corners off and make it more kind of an octagon shape. And then from there I can just sand it smooth so it's a circle. Alright, so here's where we are so far. So we have a decent shape on the end, and then the handle I've been able to shape down to something that fits quite nicely in the hand. It still looks terrible, but I mean, it's the right shape. But I do need to take some more material off here, which is why I kind of drew on it with a red marker, is because I knew I wanted to take some material off here because it's a pretty big bump. It gets a little too thick in this area. And I think I can make this transition a little better, because right now it's just a big bump right here. But other than that, we're doing alright. Today it's finally warm. A little bit. It's like 70 something. It's the low 70s. So I got my flip-flops and and short sleeve and everything. But yeah, today we're going to be doing sanding. So last time, as you can see, I got it shaved down a lot and took off some of the high spots. So it's a good shape. It just needs to be sanded and smoothed out, because this is obviously uncomfortable and really rough, and it looks terrible. But this will, I think, will shape up quite nice with some good sanding. And I'll be using the only sanding tool we have, which is an orbital disc sander. But it works pretty good. already looking a lot better, but I'll get back with you when this thing is fully done. Alright, so it's about an hour of sanding, and this is the result. So I've gone from kind of 60, 80 grit, and then 220 or something, and it turns, it's left some of the bark because it's really in these crevices. Like this is basically impossible to get at without a sandblaster or something, and I definitely don't have one of those. But the smooth parts got really nice, and so yeah, I think that this looks pretty good. It's time to oil this thing, so we're gonna put on some. This is probably not the best thing to use for wood, but this is just cooking oil. You should probably. It'd be best to use like a mineral oil or something, but this is gonna work just fine. So it's just avocado oil, and really any oil that's not toxic or anything you can put on this, and it'll just seal the wood and bring out the grain quite a bit. So it's one option, or you could put polyurethane on it, which is basically plastic, and that works too, although that's more of a finished look, and this thing I'm planning to hit stuff with it, so the polyurethane would just get damaged and stuff. So I'm going to use this. So I guess, yeah, I'm going to kind of wipe it off first to get all these sanding particles off of it. This juniper wood is actually pretty light. It's very light. It's like almost white, but it's gonna bring out the oranger tones in the wood grain, which looks real nice. Ooh, that pink really shows now. That might fade away because that's just the kind of inner layer of the bark, but it looks cool in contrast with this kind of yellowy white off cream color of wood. Now let it sit for a little bit and absorb as much of that oil as possible. Alright, so you can see it turned out quite nice. The oil really brought out a lot of the colors, including this interesting pink from the inner layer of the bark that wasn't fully removed. And you can see a lot of this wood grain in here. And the handle has some nice wood grain. You can still see some of the cut marks from where I cut it and everything, but overall I'm quite happy with this build, even though it was made with a lot of the wrong tools, or at least not the best tools for the job, but it still came out alright. So even if you really don't have many good woodworking tools, you could still make something pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the process of me turning this tree into a beautiful wooden club. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.